Instead of focusing on winning arguments, we're teaching the basic fundamentals of sales and marketing and how we can use them to win in the world of politics, teaching you how to meet people where they're at on the issues they care about. Welcome to The Brian Nichols Show.
Well, happy Friday there, folks. Brian Nichols here on The Brian Nichols Show, and thank you for joining us on, of course, another fun-filled episode. I am, as always, your humble host, and today I'm going to talk to you about why libertarians never win. I know, such uplifting topics for today's conversation, but don't worry. I promise there is a remedy for today's topic, and that is to show us exactly how we can win. But before we go ahead and get there, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to today's sponsor. That is the Expat Money Show. Head over to briannicholsshow.com/expat, where you can go ahead and check out this awesome podcast by our good friend Mikkel Thorup. It is the Expat Money Show, where he helps you protect the money that you work so hard to earn from those ambulance-chasing lawyers, nefarious creditors, and greedy, unjust governments. And that will be great as in terms of getting you prepared for what's taking place November 7th through November 11th. 5 days, 30 expert speakers. It is the Expat Money Summit. And you're going to go ahead and not only learn what you're learning here at the Expat Money Show, on the show, but here at the summit in particular, you're going to learn how Mikkel Thorup and others will help people just like you invest internationally, secure second passports and residencies, eliminate your tax bill, and take advantage of offshore structures so you can travel the world freely and never have to worry about money again. And oh, by the way, they have an amazing keynote speaker. It is the one, the only Congressman Ron Paul. So head over to briannicholsshow.com/expat and get your free tickets locked in today. One more time, briannicholsshow.com/expat. All right, folks. Well, thanks for joining us on today's episode. I'm looking forward to this conversation. And yeah, it's going to be a little real for some of the libertarians here, because I'm going to talk to us about why we don't win. And frankly, it's a conversation I think we are all prepared to have, and I think we've all been having in some way, shape, or form. So I'm going to go ahead and get things fired up here for you guys. Here we go. So this is an article I wrote over at briannicholsshow.com, where you can find it over on our blog post, and it is why libertarians don't ever win. Libertarians, who are you trying to convince? This question is a good one to ask ourselves because it reveals how we can better communicate our ideas and win more people over to our side. If we're being honest, we libertarians often waste time arguing about things that, for being, again, honest, don't really matter, when we should be spending our time and energy on issues that do. And while I'll admit that some of those arguments, they can be fun, they're not going to get us anywhere politically unless we win people over by showing them why libertarianism makes sense for them on an individual level and not just in theory. Libertarians, we would be very wise to spend less time trying to win arguments and more time actually helping our fellow Americans on the issues that impact them most. There's no need for libertarians to devote so much of our efforts into winning arguments with other people, especially when it comes at the cost of helping others. We don't have a monopoly on truth or wisdom, and if we're spending so much time trying to convince others that we're right, then this is taking away from the important work that's being done by those who actually go out there and fight in the name of believing in liberty. The real problem is that many of us libertarians are so busy trying to win arguments that we forget the purpose of the argument. It's supposed to, they're too busy being right, and they forget they should be focusing on being effective. And they're so busy on focusing on being the only one true libertarian that they often fail at the ability to communicate their ideas effectively. And sadly, this attitude is common enough amongst regular libertarians, and I'm sad to see it really storm over to what we've identified as more of our friends in the classical liberal camp. Because sadly, it seems a lot of you folks have a tendency to behave like experts in some kind of grand philosophical metagame, speaking about political issues as if doing so gives you an edge over other people, even though politics isn't a game. You can win by virtue of just being smart or knowledgeable enough in principle or theory. See, libertarians often forget that many of the issues that concern voters are the issues that we will win on if we focus on those issues versus what we think people should care about. What is important to the voter? They want their life to be secure and predictable, which is why they think that means some level of government involvement must be in their lives. But we must change that. And we must do that by forming coalitions with others who share some of those ideas that we do if we want to get anything done in politics. But it requires us to focus on those that are actually within our target market. Libertarians should focus on the issues that are within that target market, the issues that can actually be won, and surprise, surprise, issues that are important to the people. And oh, by the way, libertarians, we have to stop fighting with each other and start fighting for people. We have this tendency to get caught up in the middle of the minutia of political theory and forget that most people don't care about the ideas of liberty or politics as much as they care about their own lives. If you want to win elections, you need to make sure that if you're a candidate, you have a vision for how he or she will improve the lives of Americans. If we really want to break out of our third-party ghetto and start winning elections, we need to stop fighting amongst ourselves and focus on the issues that matter to voters. While there are plenty of other factors at play, if we can start winning elections by focusing on what matters most, then maybe, just maybe, more people will pay attention to us when we're talking about the other areas that we are so passionate about. In the end, it's important to remember that voters are not simply looking for a good policy proposal or a perfect candidate. Rather, they want someone who will listen to their concerns, will work hard to address them. And the best way for libertarians to win in those elections is by showing people how we can make their lives better through personal freedom, economic growth, and liberty-based solutions. Folks, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It's a rather short episode, yes, I must confess, but at the same point in time, I think it was a rather valuable episode because it shows, I think we do have some room to grow. Have we gotten better from where we were? Absolutely. But do we have some to really focus on, some areas to focus on? Absolutely. So let's do that. Let's focus on the areas that we can win, and that is the areas that people care about. Meet people where they're at on the issues they care about. And if you do so, I promise it will pay itself. Just like if you were to go to briannicholsshow.com/expat, it will pay itself for 1 week in his course. It'll pay for itself over in a generation. The same thing is true when we're meeting people where they're at on the issues they care about. You're planting the seed, right? You're planting the seed. And once you plant that seed, it will eventually, it might not be overnight, but it will eventually turn into a full-blown solution. So, folks, with that being said, thank you for joining us on today's episode. Really enjoyed it. And oh, by the way, did you check out our awesome conversation we had yesterday with Robert Blackwell over at the Brian Nichols Show? At the Brian Nichols Show. Surprise, surprise, the Brian Nichols Show, right? No, we had Robert Blackwell over from the at the Alpha Mission. There we go. Over at the Alpha Mission. Go ahead and check that out. That was a great conversation. And folks, if you enjoyed that episode, please do me a favor. Go ahead and give it a share because it was a blast. By the way, I'll make sure I go ahead and see you over there. I'll include that link right here below for you in the show notes. But otherwise, with that being said, folks, thank you for joining us on today's episode. And oh, by the way, if you're over on the podcast version of the show, make sure you click the artwork in your podcast catcher. It'll bring you right to briannicholsshow.com where you can find the entire episode from today, as well as the entire transcript from the episode, plus the entire video version of the show over on YouTube. Click that little subscribe button there when you're over on YouTube and that little notification bell so you don't miss a single time we go live. All right, that's all I got for you guys. Go have fun this weekend. With that being said, it's Brian Nichols signing off here on The Brian Nichols Show. We'll see you tomorrow.
For listening to The Brian Nichols Show. Find more episodes at briannicholsshow.com.